I turn you back in time, I'm going to ask a few favors of you for modern day conveniences. Number one, cell phones off, please. Number two, there is no picture taking or movies during the tour. However, I have to explain, this young lady will be videotaping because she is a student. She's also Miss Wantage. And so she has special permission to do this as a project. So she is the only one that will be able to take any pictures. The third thing is, please do not ask any questions of the people that are presenting. You're on a 15-minute schedule as you go through. If you have any questions, I'm out here. I will try to answer them. Or come back tomorrow. In Sussex County tomorrow, it's Historical Day. So you can go all over the county to many, many historical places tomorrow. Or come for Christmas in July. And then we open in April to October, the second and fourth Sunday of the month, and you can tour. But if you come for Christmas in July, everybody's in costume like tonight, and it's lots of fun. Okay, my friends, going to turn you back in time. 1795. I've been around here a long time. I'm going to take you back tonight to meet some of my friends. 5 generations have lived in this house. And I'd like you to meet some of those generations. I'd like them to tell you about the experiences they had in this house. Some are very nice and some are sad. But I think you will enjoy hearing from them. Now, I decided to get you all together on this beautiful fall evening because I've just been so busy the last couple of weeks taking and making this cider from the apples I picked and drying them for the apple pies for the winter, canning my applesauce, and also I've been busy grinding the corn so that I can have mush in the winter for my husband. And then I've been drying the pumpkins so we can have pumpkin pie and pumpkin everything in the winter. But enough of my rattling on here. I want you to enjoy yourselves. So go with this lady and have a wonderful trip back in time.
Please, come in.
If you follow me into the hallway.
As you see, you are in the hall where the opening of all the rooms come together in this hall. Welcome to my home. I am Reverend Elias van Bunschoten. We built this, we built this home together after my church congregation in the Clove called me to this church. And I'm very thankful to be here. As you could see coming here, I'm sure you could notice how beautiful this valley is. The trees, especially in October, are so beautiful, and when it rains, you can hear the babbling brook all the way down. And that's one of the reasons I built my house here, because as you go down the hill, it is the best for the mill race. And many mills are built here, and we do very well with that. You might be wondering why I became a pastor. Well, it was a tragedy. Unfortunately, my wonderful older brother John, God rest his soul, was sick, and he went on a trip on a ship to the Caribbean to get well. Well, didn't you know that pirates, unfortunately, very many times, pirates in this case took over the ship, and they killed all the passengers and the crew except one boy, including my poor brother John. And on the very day that I heard he was dead, I heard the Lord call me to the ministry. And I replied, and I went on, and I found the College of New Jersey. And by the grace of God, I was able to study there. You may know it, in Princeton, not very far from here. My father paid my way to this college. God bless him. Otherwise, I would not have been able to study. And they were called after that. 1768 is when I graduated from the College of New Jersey. And then I was licensed to preach, and right away there were 3 beautiful small Dutch Reformed churches across the mountain in the Delaware Valley that called me. There were very few ministers at that time, So there was 3 churches called me. One was Macacamac, right next to Montague. One was Minnesink, and one was Walpack. I miss them a great deal. And I hear that you are going to be heading to Macacamac on your journey tomorrow. I hope that you tell them that their former Reverend Van Schoten wishes them well, and tell them that I am well when you go. And I certainly hope that you will worship there, because tomorrow, as you know, is the Lord's Day, and to worship there is a wonderful thing. And when you worship, of course, it's not true worship unless you spend the entire day. They will have a break for lunch, and the pews are cost only £3 and 3 shillings for men, and £1 4 shillings for women. I certainly hope that you will go there. Well, on my way here, when I saw you coming, I was with one of my customers at the mill just down the road, just down the hill here, and I owed him 3 pence. And the man said, "Don't worry about such a trifle." But you know, I could not sleep if I did not give that man his change. So I came up here getting my 3 pence just as I saw you come. And as I saw you come, I was sending my good man, my servant Caesar, on an errand. But he will be back shortly, and he will help us with getting your meals, because I hope certainly that you will stay here for the evening and be my guest, since all homes in this area, all homes everywhere, are inns in the rural places. So you can stay. And I hope thou, however, as the rules of the house, I hope that there is no beastly behavior here. I did not get a chance to look very carefully before you came in, although you are wearing such strange clothing. But there is no spirits to be had, and because spirits have been the cause of many downfalls of many men. Like unfortunately, some boorish young men that I came across the other day on my way to the Lord's house. Unfortunately, I thought that they were such very good, controlled men, and they asked me if they could join me to go to the church. And I thought, wonderful, we'll have more congregants. But when they started in their horses, one of them started jumping and going very quickly. And before I knew it, he said, "Go," very loudly. And my own gelding, my beautiful young horse, started running like a racehorse as fast as he could go. And I almost fell off. You could imagine how shocked I was if anyone had seen me racing on the Lord's Day. My goodness, what a shock and a scandal that would be. I always get so upset. Sorry. But anyway, it's getting late, and I know that you are very tired. As soon as Caesar comes, he will bring you some wonderful food, and I will send you up to the room, and you will, of course, have your Bible with you. Read Scripture and pray before you go to bed. Welcome to my house. Welcome to the Glen Farm.
Hello, sir. I think we have some visitors.
Well, welcome. How is everyone this evening? Come on in. Go over here. Oh, we have a large crowd. Excellent. Well, good evening. I am Dr. Webster Cooper. Folks around here, they call me Dr. Webb. I grew up here on the Glen Farm. I was actually the youngest of 10. My mother's portrait is actually right behind you. She and my father stressed the importance of a good education. So my brothers and I, we were sent to Mount Retirement School right here in Wantage. We studied under a Mr. Stiles. He was a great scholar. And in fact, most of his students went on to large universities throughout the United States. In fact, I'm actually an alumni of both NYU and Yale. After university, I wanted to follow in my brother's footsteps. My brother Charles was a doctor, and I studied under Alexander Ling. He was a physician here in Wantage. Well, after my studies with him, I decided to open my own practice here in Wantage. I was still staying here at Glen Farm because this was my home. In 1850, I, let's just say, met the love of my life, Susan Howell. She is a beauty, isn't she not? Well, she was living with my brother Charles and her sister in a small house right on our property here. They called it status quo, but I thought it was quite handsome if you ask me. Well, after a short 7-year courtage, I decided to marry the little lady. So in January of, 1857, I can't remember the date actually, but you guys know we can never remember our anniversaries, can we? Well, we both moved into a small house across Clove Creek. It was a beautiful house, but I couldn't stay there very long. I had ambitions. I wanted to have a big practice. I wanted to start in my own apothecary business. So, Susan and I, we packed up and we moved to a small village in Deer Park, right outside of Port Jervis, if you do not know where that is. That is where I actually started my apothecary business. It was called the Cooper March Apothecary. It was right on Pike Street, right in Port Jervis. Things were going well. I had my own business, my own practice, but the war between the states broke out. And every able-bodied man was drafted. And guess what? So was I. But President Abraham Lincoln was looking out for me. He made me the inspecting surgeon. What I would do is, with new recruits, I would inspect them for battle worthiness, to see if they were healthy enough to be in battle. Well, 1865, the war ends. I'm back home. I'm back where my business is. So what better time was it to start my own family with Susan? One night she came to me and said, "Daniel, I'm ready. We're ready to have our baby." Excuse me. I was a doctor. I couldn't save them. I couldn't save my beautiful wife and child. So on a cold, rainy March in 1866, I had to bury my wife and child. Life just was over for me. I sold my apothecary business. I gave up being a doctor. I couldn't even save my child and wife. How can I be a doctor? I started living with family and friends. I'm sorry, but you have to excuse me. I'm late. I'm to visit my friend Enoch Brink. I'm actually staying with him now. But I'm glad you all came. Thank you.
Thank you. As a sad footnote to this, this appeared in the Sussex Independent newspaper February 23rd, 1906. This community was shocked Wednesday afternoon to learn of the sudden death of Dr. Daniel Webster Cooper, which occurred at the home of Enoch Brink in the center of the village of Mount Salem. The deceased was the last of his family and generation a family strong in essentials, which makes the best men of our community. Dr. Webb was a fine physician, or fine in physique, culture, a brilliant and entertaining conversationalist, known to most everyone in the township. He was laid to rest beside his beloved wife in the Laurel Grove Cemetery.
Well, I get all upset. I'm getting older, so I cannot.
As we finish in this room, we're going to go upstairs, and in the upstairs bedroom, it will then be 1896. We're jumping ahead a little bit.
Goodness, it seems as if we have visitors. Mother must have made new friends. Hello? Goodness, you have a strange sort of device there. It sort of looks like a camera, except it doesn't have legs. Good evening, good evening. Oh wow, this is a large group of people. Wow, Mother must have had a very large party. But I don't know if you could all fit in the parlor. All right, is that the last of you? Okay. Well, good evening and welcome to our lovely house. Thank you for stopping by. My name is Catherine Cooper, but you know what? You may call me Cat, like my sisters do. This is my sister Britta, whom we call Pansy because of her beautiful eyes. And this is Rachel, who we call Ray. And this is Helen, whom we lovingly call Bunny. Isn't she so wonderful? I hope you're enjoying the house so far. I was actually born here, and so was my brother Howell. Shortly after Howell was born in 1874, Father joined the oil business in Oil City, Pennsylvania. So from then on, we lived there. But you know what? It's very nice because every summer we get to come back to our lovely summer house. Our whole family just adores this house. But I think our brother Philip loved it the most.
Losing our dear brother Philip at just 15 years old was such a deep loss for our whole family. Bunny hardly ever talks about him. His loss was hard for her to grasp. Mother put all of Philip's most prized possessions into a box. Bunny is often sneaking into Mother's room to fetch his toys to play with. I don't think she minds, though. It is a nice way for her to remember him.
It is.
We were all very anxious to get back to the Glen Farm this summer. It always seems to help everyone's state of mind to be here. Our hearts are here. Bunny was very happy to get back to wanted to see Cat. She just adores her.
Bunny.
It's so nice to be away from the city. Everything is so much more relaxed here, especially Mother and Father.
Oh, yes.
Our brother Howell was out earlier today helping the farmers. They were cutting the corn and stacking it to dry. There's always so much work to be done on the farm. Has the agricultural depression affected any of you? It's terrible what it's been doing to these farmers. To think that they're getting 60 cents for a 40-quart can of milk.
It's outrageous. Oh, where are my manners? Did you happen to travel by train to get here? Isn't it lovely traveling by train? Ever since the Midland Railway merged with several other smaller railways to form the New York, Susquehanna, and Western Railway, there are so many more places accessible to our small little rural area. You must not have traveled by train. You don't seem like the people. Then you must have traveled by Mr. Henry Ford's new invention. Can you imagine a vehicle powered by gasoline? Amazing. Then if you're staying here, you must have rooms at the Harrison House. That's at the north side of Deckerton. The rooms there are very nice, I hear, but it can get a bit rowdy after the horse races. I've heard they've become quite popular. There must have been more than 1,500 people at them last Saturday, was it? Yes, it was Saturday.
Oh, I just can't wait until I'm old enough to see the Totters race. I love horses. So does Bunny. She loves to play with Philip's old horse toys, don't you? I guess we really all do love horses, because, I mean, what would we do without them? They're so important to our lives here in Wantage. They help cultivate and plow the fields and haul heavy loads of grain and corn.
Cleveland is my favorite horse. Father named him after Grover Cleveland, who was president when he was foaled. I love riding with Father down to the creamery, like we did today, because we traded the milk in for powder. Not powder. Yes, we got powder, and we also got butter, so that we could make cookies for when Kat and Herbert came to visit.
And those cookies, Rachel, they were delicious. Oh my goodness. Well, it is getting quite late, and these girls need to get some sleep. Oh, and I need to be getting home myself. I need to go find Herbert. But thank you very much for stopping by and visiting us. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your stay here in Wantage.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, girls. And we're going to go across the hall and to meet the mother of these children. It is going to be now 1920. Hello.
Well, hello.
I think we have some guests.
Oh, wonderful. You can come over on this side as well. You'll have to forgive me because I'm getting ready to go to a ball at the Union House in Sussex. I'm sure you know it. It's the large white building with that delightful porch right on the corner in the center of town. I'm just trying to decide which gown to wear. My name is Britta Cooper. I was born in 1851 near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My parents are James and Rachel Carnahan. Papa was in the retail clothing business, and soon after I was born, we moved 12 miles down the Ohio River. I can remember seeing the troop trains during the Civil War pass through my town. Later on, Papa left the clothing business and he joined the oil boom. That's when we moved to Franklin, Pennsylvania, which was the county seat. That's where I met my husband, Charles Elias Cooper. Charlie is so handsome and easy to talk to and always in a good humor. He was working with his father in the oil business as well. He's very intelligent. He had graduated from Yale University. He had served with the 41st Infantry during the Civil War, and I often wonder if he had been on one of those troop trains I'd seen passing through town. We were married in 1871, and we moved here to Wantage. Not to this house. We lived around the corner on Unionville Road in a house we called Status Quo. Our first two children, Catherine and Howell, were born there. Charlie was managing all 5 of the family farms at the time. We loved the peace and the quiet of the country, but we missed the hustle and bustle of the city. So in 1874, we moved to Oil City, Pennsylvania. There we had 4 more children, Britta, Philip, Rachel, and Helen. But we've always spent our summers here in Wantage. And in later years, after all the elder Coopers passed away, we gave up Status Quo and we moved to this lovely home. Oh, good heavens, Charlie has made a mess again. I chide him constantly about being tidy, but he just never listens to me. He gets up in the morning and he cleans the oil lamps, and then he's off on a joyride going wherever his horse will take him while I clean up after him. But he's a good man, and actually next year we'll be married 50 years. In fact, I have my wedding dress out because I was showing it recently to my sister Carrie, who was here on a visit. Carrie was only 11 when I was married, and so she had forgotten what my dress looked like. Then we began to reminisce about her wedding in 1889. Charlie and I took all the children to New York City for the event. Catherine was 16 at the time, and she was Carrie's maid of honor. Philip was a page, and the younger girls laid ribbons down the aisle. What a wonderful memory that I hold fondly to my heart. We were all so happy and together. All the more poignant because we sadly lost our Philip when he was only 15 years old. We've had ups and we've had downs, but it's been a good life, and now we get to enjoy our grandchildren. Our grandson Bill comes for at least a month every summer. He takes the daily milk train to Sussex at the end of the line, and Charlie picks him up in the horse and buggy. Bill loves all the farm animals and that big old collie Rover that belongs to the Hardens. Wesley and Mary Jane Harden are our tenant farmers, and they actually live in this house as well. They live on the south side, and Charlie and I live on the north. Charlie will be here in a moment. I better get ready. Now I want you all to be very careful going home tonight because that dirt road out front can be very tricky if your horse isn't familiar with it, and it's only lit with your carriage lamps. Please do come and see me again sometime.
Thank you, Mrs. Cooper. It was so nice visiting
Well,
with
it was
you.
very nice. Next time I'm a very good cook. You all come back and I'll make you something delicious. We'll sit and you can tell me about yourselves.
We'll remember that, and thank you. This concludes our tour of this home. I will escort you down the back staircase again where we came up and out the back door. And thank you so much for coming and enjoying our beautiful museum and home. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.